Everyone wants to keep their hanging baskets and planters looking great all year long. Sometimes you come into Anderson's and you pick up your hanging basket while it's looking beautiful, and you just try your hardest to try and keep it looking good all year long, and sometimes it just doesn't work out. There's some tricks that we can teach you to make sure your baskets and your hanging baskets look great all year long. First thing is to make sure that it's in a large enough basket. This particular hanging basket is a 10-inch basket, and it's full of wave petunias. These petunias are going to cascade out. They could spread up to 2.5 feet and get really long. It's in a 10-inch basket though, and a 10-inch basket just doesn't have enough soil to maintain this large of a plant for the entire summer. So we'll actually take it out of this basket, transplant it into a 12 or 14-inch basket, and give it more room to grow. It really helps to take your smaller hanging baskets that look great early on in the spring, transplant them into a larger container, and they'll have more room to grow and more room to look really good. When you're doing that, one thing that I would definitely recommend is mix a little bit of this Hydra Stretch into your soil. The Hydra Stretch is a natural material that actually absorbs up and holds water, holds about 20 times its weight in water, and if you mix that into your soil, into your potting soil, every time you water, the Hydra Stretch will absorb that water up and retain it and hold it longer for your plants, so your plants won't dry out so quickly. When it's 90-95 degrees in the middle of summer, you've got your hanging baskets on a south-facing building, it gets pretty hot, they dry out very quickly. By adding the Hydra Stretch in there, it will really help the soil retain and hold the moisture longer, so when you do water, it saturates through the entire hanging basket or the whole planter, and will help hold that moisture that you need. The Hydra Stretch also absorbs up and holds nutrient for your plants as well too, so when you're fertilizing, the Hydra Stretch will help hold your fertilizer a little bit longer. But we want a basket like this to just cascade and trail out and get as big and as long as it can get. And so using the right fertilizer will really make a difference. One of our favorite fertilizers is this water-soluble hanging basket and geranium food from Fertilome. It's a 20-20-20 fertilizer, if you can see right there. It has 20% nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium in it. It's a nice balanced fertilizer that will give a hanging basket or a planter basically all the nutrient that it needs. The middle number, that 20 right here, so I'll show you again, that middle number is phosphorus. The phosphorus encourages blooming, especially in flowers. In vegetables, it helps with root crops and also with fruiting vegetables as well. But for the flowers, we want that high middle number to keep them blooming. But in a planter or a hanging basket like this, where we want it to cascade, we want it to spread out, we need that high nitrogen, that first number, to get it to crawl and to get it to spread. We want that high middle number to get it to bloom and to keep blooming. So we'll actually take our water-soluble fertilizers like the all-purpose, and also like the blooming and rooting from Fertilome. Now the blooming and rooting is a real high phosphorus like I was talking about, so it's a 9-59-8, so that really keeps them blooming. We will use these throughout the year, and believe it or not, they only last about a week, sometimes even a little bit less. And so every time we're watering our plants, we think about using a fertilizer. We don't have to do it every time we water, but at least once a week you should be doing it in a watering can, or if you're using the hose. There's a couple different things we can do to introduce that fertilizer into the water. But we'll take either one and alternate them to keep our hanging baskets blooming and growing and looking really good. So we'll go high phosphorus one week, we'll go more of a balanced fertilizer the next week, back to the high phosphorus, more balanced, and so it kind of keeps them going. And when we mix them up in our watering can, we'll add a little bit of spreader sticker to it. The spreader sticker helps that nutrient stick onto the plants, so it'll actually absorb it in through the leaves as well as up through the root system. Once it's into the plant, it'll help spread that nutrient through the plant, make it work faster. So when we mix a little bit of spreader sticker in with our water-soluble fertilizers, it makes them work so much better, and just helps them pick up and utilize that nutrient much faster. So we'll mix that in with our watering can every time we water. And then last but not least, we'll use a slow-release, long-lasting fertilizer every couple months. So this is a granulated fertilizer. It lasts about 4 to 6 months. In a hanging basket or a planter that we have to water every day, it's only going to last about half as long. So we'll take, for a 10-inch basket, we'll take about a tablespoon of this and we'll sprinkle it into the flowers, and every time you water, it'll feed them just a little bit. So between the Garden Coat 6 that lasts 4 to 6 months, in a hanging basket it's only going to last about 2. We'll do that once every 2 months during the growing season, and then we'll water them at least once a week, sometimes twice a week, with a water-soluble fertilizer like the Blooming and Rooting or the all-purpose food, to keep those baskets and keep those planters looking good all summer long.